With a new name, new modes, new moves, and new submission system, THQ hoped to silence critics of past titles with UFC Undisputed 3. At first glance, some may think it's the same game under a new name, but after giving the game some run, you'll soon realize that there are a staggering amount of updates that make it a totally different experience. The new Pride mode, fighter-focused career mode, deeper presentation, as well as new offensive and defensive moves make UFC Undisputed 3 a must-own for any MMA fan. THQ went the extra mile to ensure that gamers will have an enjoyable gameplay experience when playing UFC Undisputed 3, no matter your skill level. Users now have the option to choose between pro and amateur controls, and it's exactly what you expect it to be. Pro controls are the same advanced control scheme from previous UFC games, while amateur controls are simplified controls for beginners. Although vets will likely stick to the pro controls, it's a nice option to have for those who are new to the series. Inside the octagon, there are a number of gameplay tweaks that make the gameplay more like the actual sport. Dozens of new moves have been added to the game, including leg kick TKOs, new submissions, sways to avoid strikes, and the ability to use the cage to your advantage. Mocapping was also done this year to display more realistic movement and striking, and you can't forget about the Pride-specific moves in the game, including head stomps and knees to the head. All these additions make for a more enjoyable experience. However, the same can't be said for the game's new submission system. THQ got rid of the shining method many have complained about and replaced it with a cat and mouse minigame where users chase their opponent's icon around a huge octagon placed in the middle of the screen to win a submission. While some may find it better than the old submission system, I find it to be distracting and annoying. Fortunately, everything else from a gameplay standpoint in UFC Undisputed 3 works better than its predecessor. Plus, the game includes over 150 fighters that throw down like their real-life counterparts. This is as close as it gets to the real thing. When it comes to sports games, it's all about mimicking a real-life broadcast, and UFC Undisputed 3 does just that. Full-on pre-fight video packages and ring entrances are now present in both UFC and Pride, with subtle touches sprinkled throughout a match, including pyro, pre-fight introductions, and lower thirds. Commentary has also been kicked up a notch as Mike Goldberg and Joe Rogan break down the strengths and weaknesses of each fighter before a match. Match-specific commentary is also present in the game and is a nice touch. The Pride announced team of Bas Rutten and Steven Quadros also make an appearance in the game's new Pride mode, which I'll get into later, and both do a great job offering more over-the-top commentary than their UFC counterparts. Add to this fighter-specific crowd chants, ring announcers, dozens of realistic-looking fight venues, as well as a ton of actual video footage of fighters, and you got yourself a UFC game that looks like an actual broadcast. As I mentioned before, UFC Undisputed 3 features over 150 fighters, and every one of them look like their real-life counterparts, right down to their facial features, body type, and tattoos. Damage is reflected accurately, as you'll see faces get bruised and bloodied as the match progresses, and bones crack at the point of impact. Lighting is also improved, which helps the overall look of the fighters and venues. Created fighters don't look as detailed, and crowds need work, but besides that, UFC Undisputed 3 is an awesome looking game. This is where UFC Undisputed 3 really shines. The sheer amount of modes are impressive to say the least. Career mode has gotten an extensive makeover, and it's for the better. In past UFC titles, it was more about navigating through menus and tweaking stats. In UFC Undisputed 3, it's all about the fights. Sure, you'll still have to train and boost stats before you step into the octagon, but now less actions are required in between matches. As a result, career mode is more balanced and better structured. The game's new Pride mode is also an awesome addition. Being able to relive playing under the now defunct league is a treat for any MMA fan, and THQ captured the essence of the organization to a T, from the Pride entrances, announcers, rule set, and moves. Rosters are also accurate to when Pride was still alive and kicking years ago. I actually find myself playing Pride mode more than UFC mode. It's that damn good. Other modes like Title Mode, Title Defense, and Ultimate Fights have returned as well and are as great as ever, and fight camps are also back. Users can also share highlight reels and custom content, which is a pretty cool addition as well. However, online play has been laggy during the times I've accessed it, and gamers aren't penalized for quitting, which is inexcusable. Hopefully, these issues will be fixed sooner rather than later. Besides the wonky submission system and online issues, UFC Undisputed 3 has everything an MMA fan needs: tight and engaging gameplay, TV-style presentation, visually pleasing graphics, and deep modes that will keep you inside the virtual octagon for hours on end. If you love MMA video games, you need to add UFC Undisputed 3 to your collection. Well, that's it for this episode of Sports Gamers Show. If you want more content, go to the website at www.sportsgamershow.com. Make sure to like the Sports Gamers Show Facebook page. Follow me on Twitter at SportsGamerShow. And if you're on Xbox Live or the PlayStation Network, make sure to add me there as well. I'm Rio Pacino, and I'll see you on the next episode.